Welcome, Katharina. It's terrific to have you here with us today, and we're so looking forward to learning more about Bike Around and some of the wonderful partnerships you have started here in the U.S. Could you just, before we get started, back me up and tell us all a little bit about the global issue that your company has been trying to solve? And we'll just take a look at the background. So paint us a picture of what's out there and why this, in the world of dementia and memory care, this is an important product.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me here. The Alzheimer's is a terrible disease. We know it's almost like an epidemic, and there's no cure. So up till now, the best we can do is to try to live with Alzheimer's disease and create as best possible quality of life. And we know that to have a quality of life, it's very important to stay active. To stay active is important for all of us, but to maintain physical activity, social activity, cognitive activity is very important also if you have Alzheimer's. And Alzheimer's can lead to a great degree of passivity, become very passive. You may become angry, frustrated, and those emotions in that situations is difficult for both for the individual suffering from Alzheimer's, but also the caregivers and the care organizations. And there's not really a lot of good methods how to manage this. This is up to each situation.
So it seems to me that, and I'm going to have you walk us through a little bit about, sort of give us a snapshot of what it is. How does this Bike Around work in a community with an individual using it? And I know we have a video we're going to look at as well, so we'll take a look at that too. But if you could just sort of show us how it would work for an individual who is using this, and also to me it seems like a twofer. I mean, you're talking about the need for physical exercise as well as the mental stimulation. So I'd love to learn a little bit more about that.
Yes, absolutely. So this innovation came to us through the research from a research in dementia and a gamer. And the whole idea was, how do we motivate physical exercise? Because we know as also healthy people, it can be hard to motivate yourself to be active. So it's the same situation if you have dementia. And so the Bike Around is actually, it's a physical bike. So it's very natural. It has a handle, it has the pedals, and you're riding a bike, but you're not just riding a bike looking into the wall, or you're riding the bike in front of a dome, which is surrounding you 180 degrees, which means that you're in a picture from Google Street View. So this dome is connected to Google Street View, and you can type in more or less any address in the world, because the Street View has been filming all over the world, more or less. And so many people, what they like to do is to actually go home. So if you're living in a senior community, you will probably never come home again. So many people want to go home, and when they type in their home address, they know exactly where they are. And they are sort of the king of the situation. They know the stories, where they've been living, working, they can engage, and they're riding the bike where they know very well exactly where they are. So this is a great way to create motivation, because it becomes natural. You want to show someone where you are. You want to tell your stories. So it's a lot of social interaction, and it creates a lot of joy to share these stories and memories. And it's also a cognitive training to navigate around in the streets situation.
So how long would someone be on? How long would they be on the bike for?
It's different, but usually not that long. Maybe 10, maybe 20 minutes. But what we see is, and what is so great is that this just a short amount of meaningful activity creates positive experience throughout the day.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting. So it can carry over that experience. And would you have your caregiver with you, or an aide, depending on the stage, obviously, but alongside you, so that they know what you've seen?
Yes, absolutely, because it's very much a social activity. So if you compare it with a VR situation where you have perhaps goggles on your head, you're more or less a little bit alone in the VR world. Whereas with background, it can be someone with you, sharing your story, maybe showing themselves where the caregiver lives. We can have group activities and to travel somewhere. Where would you like to go? Are you tired of the bingo today? Yeah, let's go someplace. Let's go to Italy. Yeah.
Oh, wait, that is fantastic. I absolutely love that. Now, especially if someone has moved to this country from another country and they want to go back and just see the hills and all that around, that's fabulous. Now, tell me, how is it rolling out this bike around in the United States? What have your different partnerships been? And I know you have a new partnership you have just about to launch or have just launched.
Absolutely. Yes. So we're a Swedish innovation company, and our first important key partner to coming to the US market was Senior Star, a fantastic senior living community that has 11 centers where they implemented the device. And so now we're just taking the next step with Sagora Senior Community.
Hi, I'm Nathan, and this is my dad. Yes, the turkey was delicious, but sadly, this is one of the only videos we have of him. He was my hero and my favorite guy on earth. He died a few years ago, way too soon. Now I have a new favorite guy on earth, but he will never know his grandfather in any meaningful way. I'm sure you all have special people in your lives whose stories you wish you had recorded or you want to record. So we created Megilla, an online video storytelling platform where anyone can tell their story in just a few clicks. Explore the question menu and choose from any of our 700 questions across multiple categories. Tell any story you want in under 3 minutes. And in 3, 2, 1, start telling your story. Your videos are safe, private, and secure on our servers. If you feel like sharing, select a video and email it directly from our site. Megilla is so easy to use from the comfort of your home, this guy thinks it's pants optional. Stories have a powerful way of bridging generations and keeping everyone connected. At Megilla, we believe everyone has a story to tell.
And they started in Florida, where they've been using it and evaluating for 6 months, and now they're also introducing it in California. And what is so fun with this California project is that they've made it into a travel room. So they have this, you can buy a ticket, you get to plan your travel, and you go on a ride together with a group of people. And I think they even have a workshop where you can tinker with bikes for those who like to tinker. And so it's a whole sort of package of experience to create meaningfulness and joy.
Yeah. So it's really it's moving forward to this travel thing. I mean, I think it's much better than bingo. I like this idea. I really do. I think now, is there anything that had this rolled out in Sweden before here, or where did you launch prior to this?
Yeah, so we started in Sweden, and we have in total 220 units installed, and also in Northern Europe. But the Senior Star was the first to step into the U.S. market, and we see a great potential for the U.S. market because we think there is a big need with also the Alzheimer disease, unfortunately, developing, and we think it's a good alternative to drugs also. That if you can have a meaningful experience throughout the day, we've actually seen that the centers reduce medication. Sedation, reduce, and better sleep. Yeah. And I personally think that's good. So.
Yeah, I was just thinking when you said that about the better sleep part, because they're getting that physical exercise. And it really is, you don't even realize you're exercising, right? Because you're on a journey. That is fantastic. Now, is there anything that from the feedback you have had so far, what are some of the comments you've heard from people?
Well, first of all, you get to come into these individual stories about life stories, about how they met their spouse, where they went to work, that they had, experiences. And memories are very much connected to a place for us. So we remember vacations or our children, where we went. So so the stories of it's very personal, and it's at the same time it's a good way to also for relatives and caregivers to have a real sort of meeting, because it's a moment in time where you're not confused, perhaps, and that can be very valuable to share those moments when the rest of the main of the day is a bit difficult to grab.
And I would think for a caregiver, it's important because it gives them a piece of information that they can refer to maybe at another point during the day to take them back to a place that as well. Is there any, in terms of the medical community, or have they had any studies that show how this kind of stimulation to the brain and the memories with the combined with the physical is the positive wellness attributes of this? Have there been any feedback from that community on this?
We have actually 4 research ongoing, and already next month in January, there's a new research coming out from Canada on the impact on fall prevention by being physically active with a bike around. Yeah. So we think that's very exciting. We look forward to that. We also have research coming out from the UK, Australia. We're starting up with a center in California with a gerontologist. That's a hard word. Okay, so we're excited to see the results of that.
Yeah. Well, is there anything that you'd like to get across that sort of to kind of explain the product and how Bike Around works that we haven't discussed, that you would really want to leave our viewers with sort of what they can look forward to in some of these communities, and how this is really playing it can very much play a big role in the sort of the wellness of perhaps it'll be themselves one day, but for now it may be their aging parents or relatives.
Well, I just want to add that it's a wonderful tool, but you have to work with it. So you have to do the sort of experience package around it, and which means that it's a tool, and you can work with it in different ways. You can work with it as an individual for a personal situation, but you can also work with it as a group activity. Mm-hmm. So I encourage all organizations to investigate how this could be used, because it demands a little bit creativity and imagination also on how can we do this. Should we play some nice, if we go to Italy, for example, should we play some Italian music, give people some wine, cheese, something to eat, the stories, you remember vacations. So you create the whole situation around it, which makes it even more meaningful. So, and what I've seen is a great tool to have these valuable meetings. That's
when you're suffering from dementia, you need a lot of support. When you look at pictures and when you start to travel, that triggers you to remember stuff. This was supposed to be like a prototype, and now it's a product that actually is affecting people's lives.
I think that is a huge reward of being able to move the ball forward in this kind of activity. Well, listen, I want to welcome everyone back from the video that we saw earlier, and I hope that everyone learned something from the video they can visualize what we've been talking about here today. And thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.